for a minute about home cooking and why you need to learn how to cook if you haven't already mastered that skill. So I know a lot of times we don't want to, sometimes we get tired and we don't necessarily want to step into our kitchen and put together this big meal. It's just easier, it's more convenient to stop and pick up takeout on the way home after a long day of working, or, you know, running kids around from one event to another, practices and extracurricular activities and whatnot. I get it, okay? I'm a mom too. I'm a busy woman also. I work 14-hour days. I run my home by myself. I've got my kids that I'm dealing with. So I'm right there with you. I totally understand the position that you're in. But it's still very important that you get yourself into the habit of cooking your meals at home. If you were to change nothing else and all you did was switch the habit of dining out to home cooked meals, that in and of itself would make you feel leaps and bounds better than you do today. It would also probably help you to lose weight. There's a lot of benefits that come to home cooking. So the first thing that I want to just mention on that is that you're going to know when you cook meals at home, one of the huge benefits of that is that you know exactly what's in your food and you get to control the ingredients that go in and the quality of those ingredients that go in. You'll find that the more processed foods you put in your body, the more stress you are putting on your body. And the goal is to eliminate as much stress on your body as possible while you're trying to get your hormones balanced. So having high quality ingredients that you're putting in, real food that you're putting into your body is really, really important on this journey. That processed food, you put that processed food in, I'm telling you, your body doesn't recognize it. It doesn't know what to do with it, and it slows everything down because it almost creates like this sluggish system that has to figure out your poor liver is responsible for so many different functions, and it has to get rid of all that garbage that we put in, including those processed foods. And so anything that you can do to eliminate processed foods, eliminate artificial ingredients, eliminate excess amounts of refined sugars, anything that you can do to take that stress off of your body is going to help you feel so much better. It's going to help your hormones balance out so much quicker. And so home cooking, learning to cook and starting that journey of home cooking is going to help you to know exactly what's in your food. It's going to help you to take control of the ingredients and the quality of the ingredients that you are putting into your body. The second thing is you're going to save money. A lot of people think that, it's especially if you're eating healthy because, organic foods and non-GMO and produce, that meats and the high quality meats, the grass-fed beef and organic chicken and stuff like that. A lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, it's so much more expensive than the other stuff that you can get. And there is truth to that. But if you were to sit down and think about, one, how expensive is it if your health completely craters and fails because you've been putting nothing but garbage in, garbage out, right? That's what you're going to get. That's what your body is going to produce. It's going to produce garbage. When you put garbage in, garbage is going to come out. And that's going to present itself through disease, possibly cancer, possibly an autoimmune disease, possibly a heart attack or a stroke or high blood pressure or diabetes. So all of these things can happen. Obesity can start happening from, poor diet choices, poor nutrition. And when all of that happens, what is that actually going to cost you in the long run? let's take the financial piece aside out of that picture for the moment and just talk about what's it going to cost you. It's going to cost you your health. And honest to God, you can't put a price on your health. Okay. Now let's bring that financial piece back in. What's it going to cost you financially? Do you have good insurance coverage? Are you going to have to start taking a bunch of drugs, prescription drugs to to manage whatever, health issue you have now, whatever chronic health issue has surfaced from poor dietary and lifestyle choices? So there is an expense there. Now, another way of looking at this is if you were to, we're not talking about, the 99-cent menu at the local fast food restaurant. We're talking about if you were to take a sit-down restaurant and look at all the prices on the menu, and how much would it cost you to take you and your family out to dinner one night at a nice sit-down restaurant where you have, I don't know, a plate that's got grilled chicken and a baked potato and a salad, and there's bread, and then you've got whatever drinks you order, and you multiply that cost of that meal times everybody in your party. Okay, and some people are going to order something more expensive and some are going to order something a little less expensive. I would say, for the average family size of 4 to 5 people, you're looking at close to, by the time you leave a tip, you're looking at probably close to $100 for a meal. That's one meal. Whereas if you go to the grocery store and you buy all your veggies and you buy your meats and you stick to that outside perimeter of the grocery store, and you buy the real food, your grocery bill is not going to be that expensive. And that food is going to feed your whole family for probably an entire week at very close to the same cost or price as what you spent for one meal in a restaurant, in a nice restaurant. So I'm not saying it's going to be that way, that it's going to be an apples to apples, an apples to apples comparison in every situation. But by and large, if you're smart about how you do this, if you're smart about how you do your shopping and about the types of foods that you and your family consume, it's not going to cost you that much money, not that much more. And like I said before, you cannot put a price on your health. So yes, you will save money by cooking meals at home. All right. Cooking also has the power to connect you to those that you love. Think about it. What do we do when we're with the people we love? We eat. All right. So social time often takes place around food being at the center of it. And, being social is so good for your health. And while I often tell my clients to try to challenge themselves to find other ways of enjoying social time with the people they love that doesn't involve food, like maybe going out for a family hike or going bowling or, I don't know, doing something else that does not have food at the center, the reality is it's in our nature to graze over food when we are with the people that we love. And there's something to be said for, if you have somebody coming over to your home and you're like, oh, I know that so-and-so loves lasagna. And so I really want to do something special for them and I want to make them a big tray of lasagna. Or I know so-and-so really loves steak, so we're going to do steaks out on the grill. Or, whatever. Or I know so-and-so, their birthday's coming up and I'm going to make a homemade cake. Okay. All of that stuff is centered around love and social time. And so cooking really does have the power to connect you to those that you love. And that is, regardless of what you're cooking, it is health coach approved, because that social time, that love, that generosity, that nurturing side of you coming out, that is all healthy for you and the people in your life. And so I definitely encourage you to, to enjoy the process of cooking in your kitchen for the people that you love. And get yourself, once you're in the habit of cooking in the kitchen, get yourself to start substituting certain ingredients with healthier options. And before you know it, you'll be actually gradually transitioning from, that cake, that birthday cake that is loaded up with all the refined sugar and white flour and all of that stuff. Eventually, that birthday cake will still, yes, it will still have sugar in it, but it will have more natural forms of sugar, more healthier forms of sugar. Maybe you use applesauce instead of, refined sugar. Maybe you use maple syrup, pure maple syrup. Maybe you swap out sugar altogether and use stevia or something like that. So the point is, you can gradually start to make those favorite recipes a little bit healthier and still have the power of the connection that goes with, the joy of cooking for the people that you love. So the other thing is, you're going to save time in the long run. And I say this especially if you take the time at the beginning of the week, or the end of the week for the next week, to think ahead and meal plan a little bit and think about, what days can you do a crock pot meal? What days can you have a casserole dish put together that just needs to be popped into the oven when you get home from work, or that maybe your kids or your husband can pop in the oven for you, before you even get there. So thinking ahead will actually save you time in the long run. And, you can even do your food prep in advance. You can even do your grocery shopping can be done online. So most of the time when we buy our groceries, we have a tendency to buy the same things over and over again. And any grocery store that offers delivery, they probably have your previous purchase history saved in an account for you that's probably linked to your frequent buyer card that you use at the grocery store. And when you look it up, all you have to do is go click, 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 click. I use Giant Eagle for my grocery orders, and I literally log into Giant Eagle's website for my local store, and my purchase history is already there. It takes me 10 minutes to do my grocery shopping online, and then I have it delivered. I do pay the extra money to have it delivered because that saves me time. And time for me is so valuable that I don't want to waste it sitting in my car, driving 15 minutes to go to the grocery store, walking through the grocery store for an hour, driving another 15 minutes back, spending another 15 minutes unloading my car, loading everything back into my fridge and my cupboards and all of that, and then still having to do food prep on top of it. So for me, ordering my groceries online, that one's a no-brainer. Having them delivered, it's worth every dime that I pay for that delivery fee, for them to be dropped on my porch. So yes, you will save money and you will save time in the long run by home cooking. All right. And you will also make healthier choices. There is such a temptation when you go to a restaurant, especially if it could be any restaurant, but imagine if it's a restaurant that you've never been to before and you're looking at their menu for the first time and you're like, oh my goodness, look at that. That looks so good. Oh my gosh, I could have this or I could have that. And then whoever you're with at the table says, did you check out the dessert menu? And you're like, wait, what? There's a dessert menu? And you flip it over and you're like, oh, holy crap. I could have cheesecake. I could have chocolate cake. I could have, this banana split ice cream, whatever, thing. The temptation of what's on the menu of all that yummy good stuff that we think is yummy, good stuff, and usually does taste yummy and good, but isn't good for our body, that temptation is so strong when you're sitting in a restaurant. But when you're at home and you're doing your meal planning, you're not planning all of that stuff that you don't need. You're keeping it simple. You're keeping it healthy. You're keeping it inexpensive. It works, right? And as a result, you end up eating much healthier, choosing much healthier. And the last thing I'll say about this is you also consume smaller portion sizes, which will save your waistline. When I go out to eat, it is a rare occasion for me to go dining out anywhere. But when I do, usually I'm with my boyfriend or my kids. But when I'm with my boyfriend in particular, we almost always split a meal. And that is because when you go to a restaurant, they bring out way too much food. Your stomach is like literally the size of your fist. That is all the food that you need to put in your body. You do not need a plate of food that's bigger than your head going into your body. You just need the right portions of high proteins, healthy fats, and vegetables the size of your fist. That's all you need. In most cases, obviously, if you've gotten used to eating more, you might need a little bit more until your stomach shrinks back down. But in general, that's really all, that's the size of your stomach. It doesn't need any more than that. You make yourself sick. You make yourself fat eating more than that. And so we don't need those portion sizes that are the size of our head. And you will find that by cooking meals at home, you will portion things a little bit more realistic to what you need, and the choice, like I said before, the choice of what you put there on your plate will be healthier, which will help to fill you up faster, which will keep you from having cravings and keep you from having hunger in between meals because you're eating the high proteins, the healthy fats, and the vegetables. So yeah, there are so many good reasons to cook your meals at home. And so what I want you to start focusing on with this program is I want you to first and foremost challenge yourself to start home cooking. You do not need to dine out. You really don't. I love to dine out just like everybody else does, but it's just not a wise choice. It's not good for you. Save it for those special occasions. Save it for, that once a month treat meal with your family. And the rest of the time, cook your meals at home. All right? So that's all I have to say about that. I would love to hear your thoughts and your feedback on home cooking as you go through this program, especially if cooking is new to you or if it's something that you absolutely hate to do. I want to hear about it. I want to hear how you're navigating through that. So go over to the Facebook group and drop a little, start a little thread in there. Share your experience with home cooking and how you feel you're doing as you navigate through this week's module, starting with home cooking, okay? So with that, I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.